Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Josh Kachelak. I'm with Modus Create, and today we're doing another panel conversation around Atlassian, and today we're talking about governance. Governance plays a key role in making sure the systems are aligned and not crashing, and also that we're able to do our jobs on a day-to-day basis. Governance is an issue that comes up a lot with our clients and prospective clients around the Atlassian toolset and other ITSM capabilities. Today, we're talking about that and a lot of different other things. I'm here today with Peter Scherer, one of our Atlassian consultants. Italo is also joining us. He's one of our principal consultants. And Angela Bowen, who is our head of integration management office at Modus. And we're all seeing governance and around Atlassian tools in different ways. Change management is basically project management for large scale IT changes. When you make a change like migration to cloud or update from server to data center, these things can have wide and meaningful impacts. So having things like change management in place makes a whole lot of sense there.
I'm an Atlassian consultant, senior Atlassian expert here at Modus Create. And recently I've worked with governance, especially in the sense of working with change management. When you're talking about information technology, and different information technology systems and so on, generally you have to go through all sorts of changes. And these can vary from patch fixes, regular updates and things like that you need to apply to your systems. And they can go all the way into emergency changes. So those would be essentially system breaking or, items that need to be addressed or anything that is potentially an information security issue that could result in leaking of confidential information. So all of those fall into the spectrum of change management.
Who are the stakeholders involved here? Is it just IT system owners that are involved, or who participates in change management?
Basically, anyone who has any sort of usage or benefit from the systems that the change need to be implemented can be viewed as potential stakeholders. So those would be system owners. Those would be, of course, the people who work on the system on a daily basis, end users as well. Basically, anyone who can benefit or who needs that service to be functional can be seen as a stakeholder.
Have you ever worked somewhere, Peter, that a critical work system has gone down?
In my case, what I saw was also pertaining to a Jira instance, that in this case, it was actually for an upgrade while an upgrade was happening. Essentially, what they wanted to do is upgrade Jira to the latest version as fast as they could. However, they needed to have a proper upgrade path in order to upgrade Jira. So they needed to upgrade first to an intermediate version, and then, of course, upgrade to the final version that they were going to. But instead, they just went ahead and upgraded it all the way to the latest version that they could. And the problem is that they didn't have the proper procedures beforehand to, back up all their information and everything. What happened was that the data was corrupted when they tried to upload Jira for the first time after the upgrade, and they didn't have a rollback plan to go back to the previous version. Throughout the process, they lost a ton of information. They lost a ton of data that they worked on for at the very least, a couple of weeks.
So how does Modus run change management? And what did you do to set up change management at Modus?
Here at Modus, what we did is we decided to take advantage of Jira Service Management, which is a very powerful tool to handle all sorts of ITSM requests that are coming in. And of course, a big part of ITSM is how you handle change management.
Slack and Jira are where I think a lot of things happen, but Confluence is where the information lives. That's where the source of truth is of what everybody needs to know. It's Confluence. A lot of organizations, they think the tool is the solution, and they set up Confluence for knowledge management and collaboration. And then they say, okay, go have fun. And then there's no oversight. There's no governance. There's no strategy to make sure the content and the UX and the UI is going to be usable, friendly, or engaging.
Here at Modus, I'm Atlassian principal. My main role here was related with Confluence. Currently, we are using Confluence internally, and we noticed that each department had their own way to structure the pages. So we did a great work with our CX team at Modus to identify what are the main pages that each department needs to have in order to onboard new people and share data in a better way across departments, I'll say. And we drive in and put our thoughts together as a team and identify where we can create standards, layouts, templates, and make Confluence more an intranet alike too.
I think the term intranet is the big word, right? We're going from using, everybody uses Confluence to the best of their ability, to creating a enterprise intranet. From the perspective of the administrator or even the consultant implementing Atlassian tools, like the tools are awesome. They can do basically whatever you need them to do. It's about a balance between standardization and templates but allowing flexibility. And I think really what we did here is, because this light-handed approach of like templatizing where we can, standardizing where we need to, but then allowing for variances, because my department isn't exactly like other departments throughout the organization. So we have different information, different page structures, and that's fine. But now we have guidelines and designs so that as a user, I get the same kind of experience.
We cannot change too much in Confluence by default, but there are marketplace apps that allow us to do the Confluence looks like our branding and change components in the page that looks more nice to see and to share.
Aura really was a big component of how we built out the internet internally. It made a big difference and really kind of created some cohesion across departments while allowing for like customization and personalization.
Exactly. We use Aura a lot in the homepage for each department. So the homepage is very similar. We're going to see 3 options: onboarding, best practices, and meet the team. We were planning ahead. When the team grow, we need to have the documentation in place, and they need to find this in an easy way, at least.
I'm the head of the integration management office at Modus, and my responsibility is to ensure that when we acquire a company, we're able to effectively integrate them into Modus with little headache. And so Jira and Confluence are my go-to tools.
So let's start with how you engage with the Atlassian tool set and why governance of those tools is important from your perspective.
From my perspective, daily, I'm part of DSUs where we're using the Kanban board to track tasks. We are weekly having meetings where we use the advanced roadmap functionality. So every department has their tasks set up separately in their department projects. And so the advanced roadmap pulls that all together so that I can see a full picture of all departments, how they're tracking with their tasks. And I can then take it a step up, and I have executive reports that I create and completion reports, and I'm using custom Jira charts, which I just started about a month ago, thanks to Josh. And that has been highly accepted. We use that to present to the very top of the owners of our company so that they can have a quick snapshot of where each acquisition is, how far along are we, and then they can see all of the high-level department details and drill in if they want. But if they don't want to, it's just a quick one-pager with 4 charts that they can see quickly the information. So that has worked wonderful for me. And then in Confluence, so I have my entire playbook there. So for every integration that we have a playbook per integration, then an overall IMO integration management office playbook. And so I'm able to use that to track along everything that we're learning, everything that we're doing. So with each acquisition, we get better and faster. And then that's open and fully visible to anyone. So at any point, anyone who's involved in the acquisition or not can see all of our documentation. They can see all of our schedules in Jira. They can see everything that's going on. And I use the blog functionality on the IMO home space to send out periodic updates, just quick 1-paragraph snippets, say, hey, here's what's going on in the IMO recently, refer back to these pages or these spaces, and just keep people updated if they're interested in what's going on.
Angela, you're running your entire office out of Jira and Confluence, and that's such that when we're bringing in new organizations, they have all the information they need. They have visibility into everything instantly. This is not a very common maturity level for organizations to have when it comes to the tool set.
regardless of if you have or haven't used Jira before, you love it or you hate it. Let's all get on a standard baseline as far as how we expect the tool to be used. And that helped a lot. And then from that, then we put together kind of baselines and templates and more processes and structure around best practices for how to use the tool. So I'm looking forward to kind of just how we can further implement governance overall when we look at the Atlassian tool set.
What is one of the major features about how we are using Jira that you find helpful in planning something as complex and long term as a M&A integration?
So one of the things for me that's important is being able to plan in advance of an announcement of a new acquisition. So working and thinking ahead without being able to share the information publicly can become complex. So in Jira, one of the things that we have set up is security levels. So I can set up a private initiative in order to privately track that information and only share it management and up. And then I can basically put together an advanced roadmap that pulls just from one private project. So I can have all of the work ready to go using components to link to the department. And that way, once the announcement's made, the schedule's ready and it takes a click of a button to push all of that out to all of the different department projects. And then the schedule is there. So I don't have to wait until the announcement happens and then spend 30 days planning. On day one post announcement, we're ready to get to work.
To your point, like the fact that we have this kind of complicated setup that we have now in security levels dividing people's access, and that you're able to plan a company-wide initiative in Jira and have that be planned out private and then turned public, it's huge. So that you're on day one, then not only can we announce the acquisition, but we can show our plan for integration. I think we talked about a lot today. Governance obviously has a lot of, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to governance, whether it's an ITSM and your knowledge management practices, your general IT practices, or even something as large as M&A. So again, thank you all for your time. I appreciate the laughs and the conversation. And, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next time.